show host, Wood.
Hey, peace world. What's good? What's good? I'm getting ready to get on here in just a second. Got a couple things I'm gonna rap about. As soon as I can find what I was trying to see. There we go. All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna jump into a couple random topics. Put this phone number up here in case anybody wants to rap about a couple things or anything. Um, Geez, why is my stuff not organized? There we go. All right. Yeah, so we'll talk about anything that comes up. But got some thoughts on what's going on with Zion Williamson and this lawsuit and why that might be. It's interesting because he doesn't quite seem to have the money right now at this juncture in his career to really be able to make it go away. And it seems like that's his only. I mean, he's being sued for $100 million. You know, how much can he really negotiate that down to? This lady, they're suing him in his company. I mean, they're not trying to walk away. You start with 100. You're not trying to walk away with 5 or 7. And based on where he is right now, you know, he just doesn't have that kind of war chest in terms of you know, his financial means and whatnot. Even if you factor in the Nike money and whatnot. So. And it's just interesting because his parents are being used against him pretty much. And really nobody gives a damn about the benefits that he accepted. Yeah, nobody really cares about that at this point. But that's what they're trying to get at him on. So I got something on that. I'm also talking about Insecure, what's going on with the show Insecure. For anybody out there that's a fan of that. Maybe even Billions. I didn't realize Billions was in season 5. That one is. I watch a lot of TV and I like well-written stuff and I like you know, I like sophisticated stuff, I guess. Something with some complexity to it and whatnot. I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand what the hell a lot of the things that are being discussed on Billions. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I just figure it all out at the end. But you can still enjoy the show without knowing. Everybody on Billions is so damn intelligent, you know? So you might have to Google a few things while you're watching Billions. Or like I said, just enjoy the ride, catch the comedy or the humor that you can catch. And at the end of the ride, you'll kind of understand what the hell happened. I do think he has an interesting adversary this year in this Mike Prince guy who's played by Corey Stoll, I think is his name. Couple things on that. Insecure, I haven't really done deep dives or like normal recaps like I was doing with some other stuff. I just enjoy Insecure with my wife. You know, it's something that we get together. But the interesting thing is, with as much stuff as I review on here, whether it's music, breaking down fights, breaking down sports topics and whatnot, this quarantine, so this leads me to another talking point that I had. But going on, what is this, week 8 of being locked down, shelter in place? Like, me and my wife are, it's just us in the house. And my dog. And it's contentious. It's increasingly getting contentious right now. Over little stuff. I mean, it doesn't take much right now. And we've only had one argument. I detailed that on a post on my Instagram account if you want to check that out. It's a little weight loss goal that we have. Or I got to go back to work at some point into the office, actually. And as far as when I left, you know, sweatpants weren't part of the acceptable dress code. So a lot of stuff doesn't fit right now. And so I kind of challenged my wife to let's get on the same page and fix some things before stuff is out of control. But anyway, what I was mentioning, as much stuff as I break down on the show, on the channel, lyrics, albums, hip hop albums. I've been talking about this Last Dance stuff and whatnot, but my wife is not a big speaker. She's not a big talker, and as a matter of fact, besides her mother on the telephone, and besides now I'm hearing her and her coworkers, because she's working from home too. I hear that she's quite vocal with them, but other than that, my wife is not gonna say a whole lot. And even throughout the years, as we've watched television series, television shows, coming home from movies, I throw it over to my wife. Like, what'd you think about that movie? I get about a sentence, maybe sentence and a half. Every once in a while, a couple superhero movies, maybe she talks for 45 seconds or a minute. But she would probably be like Dennis Rodman in this situation. She doesn't take many shots. She doesn't pass the ball a whole lot. She's not looking to get off any, she doesn't care about any scoring, points per game, assists. She just is cool, just playing solid defense, setting some picks, and hustling, and maybe guarding, who needs to be guarded. I get to run the show. I get the whole stage around here. But she's been trying to challenge me on kind of like my breakdowns and my analysis of different things. And I'm like, babe, that's not your game. Like, I'm not trying to say I know everything, but that's not her game. She gets to like word 28, word 30 consecutive words by my wife, and she's looking to pass the ball, and she's trapped by like two players that she's giving up 6 and 7 inches to, trying to pass out of it. She didn't cross half court, so we running on the 8-second rule and whatnot. That's not her game. So, but I let her get her things off, trying to make peace around here and whatnot. But let's get into it. What's up, box fans, man? What's going on? What's good with you? If that's even you that's on there, unless you left. But anyway, man, this Insecure. I'm gonna start with that. I didn't realize that Insecure wasn't even around in 2019. My wife just pointed that out to me. I'm usually pretty on top of my entertainment, but I guess with everything that all the different movie projects that Issa Rae got involved with, wasn't no season in 2019. So that was new on me. But anyway, when it comes to entertainment, all I ask is for you for the showrunners, the writers, the directors, creators, and whatnot, don't waste my time. Like, if I give you my 30 minutes, I'm a very loyal watcher. I come on here, I tweet. I used to tweet stuff. I talk about stuff on, on here. I break down a lot of shows. I'm mentioning stuff and tagging stuff. Like, I help. I support the stuff that I'm into, because I want to see more of it. Good deal, bro. Good deal, box fans. What I'm about to say? What's going on up here? Why ain't I seeing none of that? Okay. Now I ain't got to look over here. Yeah, but if I'm gonna give you my time, I'm gonna talk about you. I'm gonna talk about your show to other co-workers and whatnot. I'm gonna show love. That's what I do. But a lot of shows will get out here and waste your time or get sloppy, insult your intelligence, and I feel like that's what's happening with Insecure. And it started last year. She was fooling around. Box fans, I don't know if you like Insecure, man. I mean, if you got some boxing stuff you want to talk about, you could call in, or type up something if you want to know my opinion on something. I mean, if it's so much talking and BS being said in boxing right now that it's kind of girly right now anyway. So with me talking about Insecure, it seems apropos. But anyway, on this so last year or the last season, Issa started fooling with this cat Nathan. If you remember, they got busy in the Ferris wheel thing, a little public sex and whatnot. And then they doubled down and they went through the parking. I mean, to her old house, I believe, and it was a pool in the back. They skinny dipped, and then I think they got busy in the pool and whatnot. I don't think anybody lived there or they weren't home or whatever. And then Nathan just kind of disappeared. And he says something about, I'm going through some things. I got some things to work through. I don't know how, some mental health issues or something. I don't know. It was all unresolved. And he said he was going back to Houston or something. And they just kind of left on bad terms. And then I think her and Lawrence might have hooked back up or whatever. But coming back to season 4, it was like, are they going to bring Nathan back? I saw the trailer before the season started. Nathan wasn't in it. So on and so forth. The season starts. I think first we got a text message from Nathan. And then I think last week, in the last episode, I think it was a voicemail from Nathan. He told her, don't call, don't bother calling me back. And then last night, or this past Sunday, this is Tuesday, we're watching the episode, and Nathan, another text message, and then Issa calls him back, or he offers to talk, and Issa calls him. Now this is supposed to be like 4 weeks after the last episode because they were working towards this block party. Cool, okay. So he offers to talk. And since she doesn't have much going on, because everything, her relationship with her girlfriend, Molly, is kind of on the ropes. Obviously, she's worried and nervous about the block party going down the next day and wanting that to go off without anything happening and wanting to make sure that her headliner shows up. So anyway, she takes up on Nathan's invite to talk. She calls him. And then Nathan is just laying up in the bed. And they get into a conversation. And I'm sitting here. I didn't say nothing at the moment, but I asked my wife today while we were both working from home on one of my lunch breaks, or my breaks. I'm like, did I miss something? When did they get on speaking terms? Like the way that the situation left off, the way that it ended, How were they that cool to just like put aside how things fell apart and where they left it, and that nothing was ever discussed? He never said and this is the thing with the writers and the directors. Like, why am I watching all of this and I'm not being told nothing about what's going on? What's going on in Houston? What is this brother's problem? Why did he just poof on her like that or ghost her or whatever the phrase is? What is going on with this brother? Like, let me know what I'm watching. I hate when I have characters that I'm following and the writers and the directors and whatnot don't just tell you what the hell is wrong with this individual, or there's no other actors or characters in the show or movie to tell you what the hell is wrong with this person. So anyway, that was my question last night. Is like, how did bro just pop back up? Now he played an important part in the episode because in the previous episode, Molly told Issa, "I'm not messing with you no more, and I'm not getting ready to mess up my relationship with Andrew to help you fix your problem," which I got a little bit of a problem with that because it's not like Andrew and Issa don't know each other whatsoever. You know, it's not like she would have been asking about a complete stranger. You know, if she would have asked her boyfriend to help out her friend. But we see they're building some conflict between the two, so I guess it was necessary. And Molly is, I just think Molly is just is realizing that she has a broke friend. They don't have a whole. It's just a season for that relationship. I mentioned this on last week's talk through Insecure. You know, I'm kind of in this situation myself and have been there before. You know, Molly has a nice vehicle. She has nice clothing. She has discretionary income. You know, she has a lot of responsibility at her job. She has a career. She's a business professional. I think she's chopping it up with some of her coworkers and understanding that they have similar taste as her. They have the money to go do certain things. They have the same pressure in terms of delivering at their job. They're all lawyers and whatnot. She's trying to make partner. And I just think she's developing or she's harboring some ill feelings towards Issa because Issa is still, I don't know how old she is, young, early 30s, late 20s. But Issa is out here doing whatever and doesn't have a whole lot of responsibility. So I feel like Molly is just looking at her like, you know, I'm my day is tied up doing what I gotta do, you know, to keep everything afloat, and you just running around just figuring stuff out as you go, and then you want my help. So I think she's got a valid beef, but instead of letting things explode like they did this past episode, where they got ready to put hands on one another, just go on and you know, distance yourself. But what happens is, you know, if you saw this episode, let me get into the title of that joint real quick. Low key something. Low key moving on. So Issa works around the clock to ensure the event goes off without a hitch. First of all, another meaningless part of this show. This damn block party. Who cares? You know? And then my wife is like, but yeah, that's something that you would try to do. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I would try to do something like that. But I ain't out here trying to make it happen. So 4 weeks went by. We didn't know it. We weren't told it really, but Nathan intervened somehow. And that's the thing. How did he even get back to California? When did he get back to California? Was he living with Andrew all along? Molly was over there a couple episodes ago. We didn't see Nathan. When did bruh just pop back up? Or I'm supposed to presume that maybe when he congratulated Issa for getting the block party situated and getting the flyer out there, getting the headliner secured and all of that, I guess maybe he came back to Los Angeles. I don't know. But anyway, he helps save the day for her because when Molly said she was not going to broker or get Andrew involved to get Vince Staples to do the show or somebody else, a replacement for Schoolboy Q, Nathan, you know, came in and made it work out. So we get to the event. Andrew points out to Issa that you know, putting this thing together, as big as it is, as smoothly as it's going off, it takes a lot to do that. And you know, maybe you should give your girl some slack because a couple of weeks ago, you and I were getting ready to break up. You know, we were on the rocks, and we talked it through and respected one another's workload. We worked on our communication and we figured it out. And now we're here enjoying this event. You know, maybe you should cut your girl some slack and understand that she was under pressure, and you know, the relationship is worth salvaging. Cool. people start showing up. The crowd starts showing up at the block party. The different artists are performing and whatnot. And then they get to the situation where they're all doing the dance. I forget what the name of that line dance is. But we have a moment where Molly and Issa start smiling at one another, dancing and, doing old routines and whatnot. And Issa is finally kind of relaxing because I think she only has the headliner left to perform at that moment. The crowd showed up. It looks like the event is a success. And the only bad part of the night is that Condola really just showed up, and her girl that helped her organize this, Condola shows up and makes sure that the vendors that she personally got to show up, that they were there. And then she informs Issa that her and Lawrence aren't together anymore. And then that's kind of another open-ended relationship. We don't know it. And I'm kind of digging Condola. I'm gonna be honest. I thought Condola was easy on the eyes. But Condola says, she's like, well, we broke up, and basically since the block party is going off now, there's really no reason for Condola and Issa to like maintain a relationship. I guess unless Issa tries to maintain that with Condola being able to mentor her to get her stuff together, maybe. But anyway, they're doing this dance, and then the main event. I mean, it's a moment of peace, and then later on, we have that moment where Molly and Issa kind of get. She brings Issa some food and says, I've been watching you all night. You working and everything. Here's some food. I'm still taking care of you, and I still care about you. I'm still concerned about you. I still want our relationship to work, and we think they're good to go. Interestingly enough, we don't see Lawrence at all this show, and that's one of my hangups about the show is different characters just disappear for multiple episodes and whatnot. But anyway, Vince Staple comes on, does his thing, and then the show is done. But this episode of Insecure is not done because Andrew lets the cat out the bag that he didn't do it on his own. Vince Staples' manager comes up and says something, and it just comes out that in that conversation it comes out that Nathan got involved, I think, or that he was involved in getting Vince Staples to be the headliner. Cool. So then Molly blows up. She's like, what's going on here? He tells her, oh yeah, I didn't, Andrew, I didn't, this and that, and I helped out. It was no big deal. And Molly is just infuriated. Like, this undermined these boundaries that she was trying to put in place, and this just completely undermined that. So she goes over to Issa. They have it out, and they almost get to blows, but then somebody screams gun or something, active shooter situation. That's how they reference that, and everybody runs off and whatnot. And we just don't know until next week, kind of where this relationship could go. Whether it continues to fracture or is over with completely. I did mention this last week, with maybe one more season to go. I can't imagine if she just took 2019 off with no show at all. And then with it being, most series right now, you get about 5, 6, years. Homeland did just get 8. I know something like Sons of Anarchy had like 8. But in all reality, it just seems like maybe another season or 2 and that could be it. And that'll kind of be what we watch for the rest of the year. Is it going to be... I'm imagining that they'll get back, that they'll reconcile things and get back together. But a lot was said. I think Molly told her she was a broke ass. She was tired of cleaning up after her. She was tired of fixing things for her. Issa said some strong things. It was all pretty standard, you know, for when friendships break down and whatnot. Um, and then Nathan offers very little consolation, and then I think Issa said, hey, you know, it's okay if you go on and tip out. I just want to think some things through, and blah blah blah. So that's it, man. That's kind of what low key moving on was about. What was I getting ready to say? The next episode, it looks like they'll be you know, seeing where this relationship is going. I can't get to the name of it right now. Low key done. That's the name of the episode, is Low Key Done. But anyway, that's kind of just my frustration of this show. I mean, what are they gonna do? You know, where are we going here with the overall show? Like I said, I think it's only gonna be like 1 or 2 more seasons. Do they start setting like laying the path to bring this thing together and wrap it up? You know, I mean, this is probably about that age in most people's lives anyway, when you stop focusing on things outside of your household, get that one that you're gonna make it happen with, and kind of go from there. And it seems like Molly, you know, with the relationships that she's been going through, that she could be building towards, you know, Andrew might be the guy that you know, she's interested in trying to make it work long term with. And then, like I said, on Issa's side of things, does she have anything to do with Nathan beyond this? Did Nathan go home and set things in motion to return to Houston or Texas, or will he text her next week and maybe they meet up at Issa's crib or something? What I don't know, but that's it. Let me see what those other names were to see if I can get a clue of where this thing could be heading. Low key done, and then low key tripping. So Molly and Andrew, yeah, that's what I saw. In episode 7, Molly and Andrew take off their first couples vacation with Andrew's brother Victor and his wife, and then in the finale, low key happy. There we go. Issa and Lawrence catch up and talk life, careers, past mistakes, and what makes each of them. I'm assuming the next word is happy. So Lawrence is back in the picture in the final episode. Next week it looks like it could be a little bit of a weird episode maybe. It's called Low Key Done, like I just mentioned. It says, in need of some positive vibes after the block party, Issa goes out of her way to do good for random people across LA, eventually turning into an unlikely source for comfort. And then meanwhile, Kelly urges her friends to reconcile. So that's up next week. Now, what I was getting ready to get into was Zion Williamson. Actually, I'm going to stop at Billions real quick. Again, so Billions, much of it is very hard, especially when they get to talking about the financial stuff and investments and scoping out investments and acts. You know, he's reached $10 billion in his portfolio and whatnot. It seems like he's moved on from his love interest of last year. And now he's back on his dominate the world mission, and he has someone to compete against in this Mike Prince cat. Meanwhile, Chuck Rhodes is kind of, and that's the thing, I don't understand what the hell Chuck Rhodes is up to be honest, with his dude DiGiulio, the judge that looks like the working man's Robert Downey Jr. I can't remember what my man's name is. Judge DiGiulio, I think. So I don't understand what he's doing, but his family is split up right now. As you know, his wife Wendy works for Axe Capital. And it seems like they're taking some time to show what Wendy is doing now that she's moved on from Axe. And she really, that's what last year she said that she had focused so much on on her family and being whatever Chuck wanted her to be, that she really wasn't living for herself. All that midlife crisis stuff and so on and so forth. I know she has money. You know what I'm saying? I know she has a lot of money, and she's great at her job. She was able to secure her medical license last year. So what all is she willing to, what all is she looking for? Now, the one thing that's starting to, I thought I was seeing something is, and we got to have it in every show now, but is there something more developing with her and the black chick that does the IR, the investor relationship, or the investor relation stuff, coming over from Taylor Mason Capital? I don't know if they planting the seeds that is some kind of interest between those two, outside of Wendy wanting her to do more for the company. But it just seems like they were setting that up, possibly. So, but meanwhile, the big thing here is that I'm just listening, bro. Doing work around the house, got you in the headphones, keep flowing. All right, man. You're going to make me talk some boxing just to work it in. But anyway, I was just kind of wondering. And we already know that the sister, I can't remember her name, but she's already been intimate with Taylor. Also, Taylor has already told Axe early in this season, this is only the second episode, she already told Axe that she was basically working for Chuck and would be giving up information, as Chuck wants to know what's going on. So, with the exception of the rivalry between Axe and Corey Stoll's character, Mike Prince. And Mike Prince is an interesting dude because he seems to be up to task. He already swindled or outmaneuvered Axe, getting Axe away from Axe Capital to come to this resort to have kind of this fireside TED Talk with a bunch of nerdy, wealthy individuals that control the entire world, moving around assets and whatnot on the internet. Using the internet and other things to move, money and manage funds, pensions, and all of that type stuff. Control markets and buy companies and it seems like now. So anyway, at this resort, this Mike Prince character and Axe go head to head in talking about why they do what they do. And Axe is like, I'm a monster, I'm not here to play nice and be embarrassed by all my wealth and how I do what I do. I'm a straight up monster. Like, I like power. I'm not into letting other people hold money who don't know what to do with it. I will gladly take it from them or for them and do my own bidding with it, which is, I don't know what he's trying to do, but he definitely doesn't like to not be the smartest and the most powerful and the most influential person in the room. And that's what he's finding right now with Prince. Prince wants to come at it like he is like a responsible monster. And that's what Axe points out to him in front of the crowd. Like, you can say, like, I don't know if he said anything about white guilt, but he says something like, you want to act like this is possible for everybody. And he's like, nah, we're exceptional, bro. We're true 1% dudes. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I need to be grateful to anybody else when I make all of this happen. And conversely, the Mike Prince dude, who actually, ironically, I'm over in Ohio. He supposedly grew up in Indiana and was like a star basketball player in high school. And he says, he's like, I got here because other people cared about me, so that's why I need to turn around and give back myself, especially now that I have this wealth. And Axe is just like, nah, I came from nothing. I outworked everybody, and I built myself into what I am, and I started from scratch, and I'm a monster. So it seems like that's kind of what the arc of the season is these two are going to be going at it. And now, the score is 1-0. The score is 1-0 in favor of Mike Prince because this it's not marijuana or that stuff that was in the peyote, whatever they call it. It's something that it's some tribe that Wags and Axe went up. They went up into like a northern excursion or something, and went out with some Native American or indigenous people or something. And they had, I think it's called a Wesku or Anawesku or something that they used. That's basically, you get high with it, and it's some healing properties or whatever. But what Axe wants to do, he wants to bring this natural substance to the market and capitalize off of being the first to, just like what's going on with weed right now. There's big money in medical marijuana and all of this stuff. So he's trying to bring this Iwanaskew or something it's called, and despite the fact that he went up there in the first episode and was hanging out with this tribe and experimenting with this drug, this natural drug or herb or whatever it is, despite doing all of that and establishing this relationship with this shaman, once he gets back to the and that was his sole reason for going to this function and taking up on the invite that Prince gave him to go to attend this function. He really went there to interact with different individuals that would help him. He needs the right hospital or university or whatever to start medical trials. They need to, how that goes. And he needs to figure out, I guess, to set up the distribution chain or whatever, all of that type stuff. So that's what he's there, is actually trying to put together the supply chain to bring this product to the market. Lo and behold, he gets up there. They get to the second night. It's a weekend retreat. They get to the second night, and Mike Prince is getting ready to bring in his guest speaker. And of course, guess who comes through the door is the shaman that Axe was with. And so, this definitely embarrasses Axe, and this thwarts him getting the jump on this product. And now he's pissed off. And Mike and the Mike Prince cat has they've done some sparring, when they were exchanging their philosophies on how to go about utilizing their wealth for the greater good and whatnot. And here it is, Axe is on his I'm a savage, I'm a monster, and, running around trying to be deceitful and manipulative. And my man is straight up he's got his own game. He's running his own game. He out hustles Axe. So that's what we're headed for over the next couple episodes and whatnot, or the balance of the season. The one thing you'll remember last year when the young boy that had I think he had previously worked for Axe Cap, and he was out on his own with his own portfolio. And earlier in the season, Axe approached him and asked him to invest with him, come underneath his banner and whatnot. And the young boy wanted to stand on his own, And Axe, ran a game on him and shut him down basically. And in the meantime, he also beat out Taylor last year, who's now also back underneath him now. And so, like I said, this Mike Prince dude has landed the first punch and is showing that he's pretty formidable with he's a slick operator himself. So that's what's unfolding now is this Mike Prince versus Axe, gloves off. And then in the background, Chuck is still, it's kind of no secret now. Well, it's no secret because Taylor let it out the box, or let the cat out the bag, that that Chuck wants to take him down. And Chuck, being without his wife and his kids, he has plenty, he's got plenty of time to try to figure it out. But Axe has been one step ahead of him. So on and so forth. So who knows how it ends up. One of my favorite aspects of Billions, by the way, is Condola. Speaking of Condola from Insecure, Condola Rashad. She's not bad on the guys either. Now, if you don't know, Condola Rashad is the daughter of Felicia Allen Rashad, Claire Huxtable. Happy belated birthday. I think she just turned 71 within the last day or two. 71 years old, and if you saw Creed 2 and you remember Claire Huxtable back in the day, Felicia Rashad looks amazing. And her daughter is, her daughter, I'm just glad to see her daughter, or their daughter, what up to Ahmad Rashad, who's popular right now because he's appearing in The Last Dance on ESPN. But I'm just glad to see her kind of like doing her own thing, and to grab a role, a significant role on a very popular show. Excuse me. She plays a very powerful character, an ambitious character. She's very smart, and she's kind of running her own game right now because she's underneath Chuck Rhodes, but she's calling him on all of his BS, and she started kind of standing on her own too last year, when the other cat, Carnity, who she was involved with in the first season, or the first or second season. But I like what they're doing with her. Like I said, she's strong, she's intelligent, she has her own aspirations, and while Chuck is a dog at what he does, she's letting him know that, you're not gonna I'm not gonna do anything with you and these missions that you have going on. I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna jeopardize my future. And but she delivers when he needs her to do certain things. So I'm kind of interested in what's going on with her, because last year she double crossed the dude who was in charge. I can't remember his name, but the dude that had taken Chuck's job from him, she played a big role in delivering that job back to Chuck. Once she saw she didn't really like how my man ran the shop. So it's very interesting that she is loyal. She does deliver. But like I said, she's deadly in her own way. And I'm just interested to see, does she somehow overthrow Chuck? Chuck gets very committed to and like singularly focused on what he's gonna do. And that can be used. That's how Axe is outsmarted him. So and Chuck does so much, has so much going on, and is so manipulative that it's hard to run 5 and 6 games at one time versus just running one. But like I said, with Axe being the mastermind that he is, he kind of has to, he's just, acts as a monster. My wife asking me something. So anyway, man, let me get to this this Zion Williamson situation. Pivoting over to basketball real quick. No pun intended. I think it's very interesting, man, because in the background or at the crux of this thing is Duke basketball, Coach K, and this pristine track record. We got this small venue that only seats like 6,500 people or 4,600 people. I built this thing from scratch. We're a private institution. We do things the right way. And the whole thing was several years ago, Coach K was not synonymous with one and done kids. And, he was kind of adamant about, that really wasn't the way that he wanted to run his program. He didn't see that being a need to get involved with all of that. The one and done wasn't in the spirit of college basketball and the student athlete. And, somebody like a John Calipari, who Bomani Jones has pointed this out. We don't do that here at Duke. And you got a lot of fans. I work with one where, Duke, their kids are there 3 years and their kids are kids. She loves them. And I'm not really a Duke hater. But the switch happened. The transition happened a couple seasons back now, where quite a few one and done kids started popping up there, and I'm pissed off. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a UNC fan, and I'm looking at what Roy's, I'm looking at these recruiting classes versus what Roy has been doing the last several years. Roy hasn't been getting the big name guys. He's been wisely piecing things together and getting key players. Kobe White kind of came out of nowhere for me. He did have the Seventh Woods kid who was a phenomenal high school player, and I think he transferred. I believe Seventh Woods left. But this year was a disaster. The injuries, and then all the youth, and then Cole Anthony missing 11 games or something. It's been kind of challenging over there, Chapel Hill. But with this situation unfolding in this lawsuit, now the interesting thing is this. Well, let me start to my Wire point. Let me because I mentioned on some other stuff. I'm in the middle of a rewatch of The Wire. Again, I'm over here rooting for somebody now. If you're a big fan of HBO's The Wire, you will be I would urge you to at least give a chance to The Ringer. They have a channel here on YouTube. And The Ringer has a podcast called The Wire Way Down in the Hole. You can go over there and check out Jamel Hill, formerly of ESPN, and Van Lathan of TMZ. They're doing actually the episodes come out on Tuesdays, today, and Thursday. I have not watched today's episode. I think they're breaking down maybe the 7th episode of the show, of season 1. So you can go check that out. Especially, like I said earlier, the joke about me and my wife kind of clashing a little bit earlier today. I could talk about The Wire all the time. I don't have many friends that watch The Wire or really care about it. Very few have watched the entire first season. Very few have made it to the third or fourth episode. So The Wire, like I said, is on the level that I like it. It's been I've been checking in on the podcast. Personally, I don't think their commentary is their commentary ain't head and shoulders above the stuff that I'm talking about on my channel. But I ain't them. But check them out. But anyway, I just finished up season 4 last night actually, and it's a similar thing that happens in season 4 of The Wire that's happening here with this lawsuit against Zion Williamson from this Gina Ford, and I think it's called Prime Sports, is the marketing agency. But in season 4 of The Wire, everything starts going downhill with the adults over some child stuff. If you remember, the show, the season 4 kind of revolves around the 4 or 5 kids: Randy, Naaman, Michael, Duquan, Donut, and Kennard or Kennard. And then you have Marlo Stanfield with Chris and Snoop. They're taking over West Baltimore, and they're doing it by dropping bodies and taking out the competition. And the way that they're not attracting any unwanted attention is they're taking these dudes off of the corners and walking them up into vacant houses and stashing the bodies. They're executing them in these vacants and then stashing the bodies in those vacants and then sealing them back up. And that's how they've been able to avoid the law enforcement catching on to what's going on and devoting more resources to them, or gathering up enough information to lock them up and arrest them and whatnot. So but what happens here is, as Marlo Stanfield is stealthily raising his flag and expanding his territory, they go to kill a dude named Lex, who, if you're still on here, box fans, Lex, you might have saw this, but I put that on my Bite Down Boxing Instagram page. I'm looking at Lex the other day, and Lex looks damn near like Tevin Farmer, former IBF lightweight champion, 135 pounds. He's just not cross-eyed like Tevin Farmer. But I was like, damn, dude looks he resembles Tevin Farmer very closely. So what happens is Lex is pissed off that another corner boy is spending time with his woman. And that corner boy works for Marlo. So Lex catches the dude, his name was Fruit. He catches Fruit and his girlfriend coming out of this party, and Lex kills Fruit, shoots him in the head, walks up while him and the girl are walking back to his vehicle to leave the club, and Lex drops him, and right in front of his former girlfriend, and in front of other people that in the parking lot and whatnot. So then word gets back to Marlo, and then also at the same time, because Marlo's crew is not as disciplined on the phones and what they talk, how they talk on cell phones and whatnot. While they were very strategic on the streets, they weren't too strategic in terms of avoiding being detected. So word goes out on some cell phones that night that Lex took out Fruit, and this comes up on The Wire. They record this on The Wire. So, but they don't have any, they don't have any firsthand proof of what happened. So anyway, the word goes back to Marlo, and Marlo was like, well, he took one of ours. He's got a fall, so he puts Chris and Snoop on to, eliminating Lex. Snoop and, for some reason, Snoop and Chris, somehow or another, the job goes out to this dude named Little Kevin, who works with Lex. He sells dope with Lex under Bodie. I guess it's some side money for Little Kevin, for delivering Lex to them without him knowing what's going on. So Lex goes up to one of the kids, Randy, and tells Randy, "Hey, here's $5. I need you to tell Lex to head up to this spot at a certain time. His girlfriend, who you just killed her boyfriend in front of her other man, her main man, she want to talk to you up at the park." So, of course, Lex wants to go and get with his lady. Lex goes up to the park after Bodie cuts him loose for the night. And he walks up the street to the park. And when he gets to the swing set and whatnot, the individual that's actually sitting on the swing, I believe, is Snoop, the female, and not his girl, his girl Patrice. So then Snoop and Chris take him up into the vacant. They take him out, and that happens. Well, what I'm getting at here is Randy, who told Little Kevin to go up to the park. He goes to school, and somebody it's getting ready to be a jump off in the bathroom. Two guys are gonna go in the bathroom and get down with this female student, and they give Randy, who sells candy at school and considers himself an entrepreneur. They're like, "Look, we don't want to buy no candy from you, bro, but we need your help because we need you to be lookout for us while we go in here and do our thing." He takes the $5. And they go in there and do their deed, do their business, and so on and so forth. Well, Randy gets in trouble trying to get around the school to sell his candy to his different customers. And when he goes into the principal's office, he's gonna get in trouble or something. His foster parent, is going to be contacted. So he just panics and starts giving up information. He's like, "I know this. I saw who was spray painting this. I saw who did that. I saw blah, blah, blah." And the lady still calls or dials the number to his foster parent. And then he says, "I know about a body. I know about a murder." The vice principal puts the phone down, and it sets things in motion to where Randy ends up being linked up with the police to talk about this body, which Herc completely screws up. But I say all of that to say that the world's longest segue to say that all the efforts that Marlo, Chris, and Snoop put into stashing these bodies away quietly, some little kid in the nearby middle school went and gave up the whole thing. And then Snoop and then Marlo's organization from that point forward was basically it was compromised. And so here it is in this Zion Williamson situation. Same things goes on. I mentioned this earlier. If you saw that the Showtime documentary Scheme with Christian Dawkins. What is that? 2 years ago, a year or so ago, 2.5 years ago, or whatever. The FBI wiretap federal investigation into corruption in college basketball with Nike, Adidas, and money being paid to coaches, and then huge amounts of money being given to blue chip basketball players for them to go to certain universities. Excuse me. To go to certain universities and to and then even beyond the college level, establishing relationships so that when certain players come out of when upper echelon, truly elite players come up out of the college level or the college game, that they have enough of a relationship to sign with either Nike or Adidas. So that situation was going on, and they picked up through this case that they were working and being put on to Christian Dawkins out of Saginaw, Michigan. All of these assistant coaches from the biggest schools in the country, they start popping up on these wiretaps, and they're discussing, six-figure payments and whatnot being made, and impermissible benefits and money being funneled to players and players' families. We've known this all along. I mean, the other day they were showing Blue Chips on TV. I've never watched Blue Chips. I have never watched more than 5 minutes of Blue Chips. I don't know why. I like Nick Nolte. But they let the cat out the bag on that. If you watch the program, I don't know if the program involved money, but we've known this all along. But anyway, so what's happened here is in the Zion Williamson situation, the people that are suing him for this $100 million, I guess he had entered into like a 5-year marketing deal and broke it and breached the contract as soon as he was drafted, basically, to sign with this other firm. And that first firm, Prime Sports, they're like, we need ours. We had a deal, so on and so forth. So now that lady, as leverage, she has these weird requests out here for Zion Williamson's family to admit to taking payments for Zion Williamson to go to Duke. And what they're using as this information, to support their what they're alleging happened, is they have access to this wiretap where the University of Kansas and an assistant on the Kansas coaching staff is on there saying that they are aware. He says, flat out, we know what the family is. We know what the cost is to get him to where the hell is Ken? I can't remember. It's not Norman. That's Oklahoma. Anyway, they can get him Lawrence. That don't sound right. Anyway, they say that we know what the total money is to get him to come here for 10 months, and that's the man that we need on the team. Blah blah blah, and that's why this Gina Ford is trying to get the court to. I guess they're gonna subpoena the family and compel them to answer these questions, in open court. And Duke, pristine track record, and we do things the right way, and we don't do the one and done. We don't believe in that practice, so on and so forth. Coach K, running USA basketball, has some shows on Sirius XM and whatnot talking about team basketball and team culture, team chemistry, so on and so forth. What you can surmise here is that if 6 figures was on the table for Zion to go to Kansas, if 6 figures was being discussed, somebody told them that's what it would take for 10 months of Zion Williamson's service. Duke, he didn't end up in Duke for less than 6 figures. He didn't end up in Duke because Coach K is Coach K, or because he likes blue and black or blue and white. He got something to go there. We know that. So what I'm saying all this to say is, even though somebody on Duke, and I'm sure Coach K has plausible deniability. I got some dudes, I got some shooters on the staff. I don't know what they do. I don't talk to them. We don't even have, he probably got a cell phone that he only uses with them. Or the dude, one of the former players on the team, one of his people that he really trusts, they interact with them. And they do what they do. And the talent comes and Coach K can say, hey, I went and traveled to Prince George's County. Damn, I think that show come on tonight. In the Water, something in the Water with Kevin Durant. It was either last night or tonight, I believe. The documentary about all the talented basketball cats. That it might be on right or getting ready to come on. But check that out. I'll probably come back on here and talk about that. But even though they did everything right, and Duke's name was somewhat, wasn't sullied by everybody else. My man lost his job off the rip at Louisville, Patino. He lost his job. He was gone. My man from LSU, who was just flagrant with it. I don't even remember his name because he was a nobody anyway. But Bill Self. Bill Self is, if we can talk about Bill Self, I don't know how you are that guilty. We know what we know. And Bill Self is like, look, I'm going to be here at Kansas for a real long time. I ain't going nowhere. And I think his voice was on there. Sean Miller out in Arizona, he was on there on his wiretap. I think Duke's name was mentioned, but because it's Duke, and Bomani Jones alluded to this, because it's Duke, nobody really went too hard on it. Of course, Duke has to do it because they got to keep up with everybody else. Got to do it. And you got to think, man, you get three top 15, top 25 kids to come to your school in 1 year. I mean, we know the Fab Five didn't get there. We know they didn't get there because they liked each other at ABCD camp or the Nike camp. It was kind of somewhat easier to get Jalen and C. Webb because they were both there in the city in Michigan. But what? King and Jackson came from Texas. Big fella that's there now. Juwan came over from Chicago and whatnot. But like I said, man, it's just ironic here that here it is. Duke gets caught up in this madness, and now here it is again. After they thought this had cooled down. And the funny thing is this, that Coach K has gotten these kids, these one and done guys. And I believe that brother is leaving this year. I thought he might have already announced. The Cassius Stanley or something, who I think should go. But he's gotten these kids. and hasn't made it happen with them. And I almost feel like it's more. He's finding out that there's more trouble than it's worth, really, in the postseason. Because I think he's coaching less and leading less and guiding less. And I just don't think it's not working out for him. Conversely, if you watch Coach Calipari, things get a little rocky for him during the season. You know, he might lose 5 or 6 games. But damn if he don't have those boys in shape by the time the big dance starts. And I think, it's not like he's winning with them either. I think he won one, couple Final Fours and whatnot. But he's completely flipping over the entire roster damn near every year. You know, Coach K usually has like 2 players holding over, or he has some he just has kids that were never gonna go pro anyway. But now he had the big kid this year, Kerry. Kerry had a good game. I think he's gone too, by the way. But anyway, like I said, this is just crazy for Duke because they thought they had, they tried to give it a go with Barrett and Williamson and the other kid from that's with the Hawks. And it didn't happen. And then this year, who knows what was going to happen this year. But it's just, like I said, it's funny, man, because he's had these kids. He broke away from, speaking out against the practice and, preaching that he could. It's just like, he's in a similar boat as Nick Saban. When Nick Saban was getting tripped up by the, Chip Kelly stuff, or these coaches, Malzahn was a bit of a hustler, messing around with the tempo of the game and whatnot, and running quarterbacks and going for it on fourth and doing all of this stuff outside of the box, and then they changed up the format and whatnot, and he had to win this semifinal to get into the national final. And Nick Saban was like, well, we didn't lose because of me. We lost because of the rules. We letting them do this and we letting them do that. I'm over here doing it the right way. And it's kind of similar with Coach K when he's sitting there at the end of the season with egg on his face and things didn't go as expected. And he has all of the right cards and whatnot, but doesn't get it done. It's got to be another reason why. But looking at this case, though, now that I wasted another 20 minutes, this lady is playing dirty. She playing dirty pool, man. And she don't even care. She like, I want my bag. I want to be made whole. I don't care who we throw under the bus. I don't care who falls. Like, she's tugging at the sanctity of the Mount Rushmore of college coaches for her $100 million. And what I was saying earlier was with Zion Williamson being on this deal, on his rookie deal, first, I don't even know what's going on with him and Nike as far as a signature shoe. I don't know if I don't buy sneakers like that no more anymore. I don't play anymore, so I don't. I'm not familiar if his signature shoe with him, missing a lot of the season and whatnot. He doesn't have the money to make this go away. He might have some endorsements and whatnot and things coming and money coming in the next 2 or 3 years, but he has nowhere near $100 million to offer. Like, hey, here's 15, here's 25, make this go away. So I just wonder, what can he do? Now, and then other than go to court, But like now, if you can't make something go away quickly, the person suing him has money to drag this out. And that's the crazy thing. Not that they're going to hurt his name too much, because like I said, he's a professional athlete now. What he did in the past, nobody gives a damn about that. But if his name is going to continue to be in the headlines and be embattled or mixed up in scandal, you know, it's hard to go sell French fries. It's hard to go sell whatever he's with, Body Armor or Gatorade or whatever. You know, some of these brands are going to steer, you know, they're going to have second thoughts. The premium brands and companies and whatnot, they have second thoughts about, you know, running ads and commercials with the cat. And during the morning on Fox Sports and ESPN, they're talking about your court case. So he just seems to be helpless kind of in getting rid of this individual and making this go away. And then on the other hand, if the parents do have to, because she's like, and I mentioned this on the video, but they want, I mean, and that's the thing, it's a paper trail to follow. You know, it's easy to put the dots together. But the lady with the lawsuit, or her attorney, I guess, is like, we want to put him on the stand, and that's crazy though. We want you to admit that you took benefits, illegal benefits or impermissible benefits from Nike, from Adidas, and that you took money from Duke University to go there. And I guess the only thing is, I'm assuming that the pleading the fifth is really all that they can do. But if they take that stand, you know, I mean, if you say I don't want to incriminate myself and plead the fifth, then the truth comes out. So I don't know if they can sign another deal. I don't know. It'll be interesting how this all plays out. But like I said, it seems like the kid is in a tough place, is in a tough spot, because he just doesn't have the cash, you know, the funds on hand. And then, you know, what is it? How do you go borrow? How do you go borrow? Who the hell wants to go and borrow? I don't even know how you borrow 35, 40 million to pay something off. I don't even know how that's possible. That's above my pay grade. That's above my head. But it seems like that's the only way, is for him to I mean, basically it's a couple, if this was in her, and now with the details there is that he's saying that this original contract or this original agreement is not valid because the company was not licensed to interact with like NBA. You have to be an approved NBA agent or sports agency or something, and they didn't have that. And then there was something else he's saying for the states of North Carolina and Florida, I believe. He's like, they didn't have these licenses or certifications, so therefore my whole arrangement with them is invalid. So, I mean, if I would imagine, you know, that's the thing. You got to pay the lawyers. You got to pay some very capable lawyers to fight this. So they're eating your pockets. They're in your pockets. And then you need 7 figures. At the end of the day, though, I mean, he can play back. I mean, you know, he can play ball. It's not like the NBA is going to sit him down, you know, because of something that went on in college and something that, you know, this lady is alleging. It won't affect his playing status or anything. But like I said, it could hinder or hamper, it could hamper new business relationships. And I guess to a certain degree, you know, we're seeing right now how the financial situation with Scottie Pippen, but that was with his team, and that was his That was his contract with this team. But it caused a situation where it affected the team chemistry and his commitment to the team. So this young man, if this doesn't go in his favor and his money, the amount of money that we're talking about, if his livelihood is affected like that, I guess there's some chance that this could show up in his performance and whatnot. But I would imagine while he's going through this, man, if you can step onto the court and play, that'll be the place where you have some peace, and really don't worry about this. And I say that to say, on a much smaller amount of money in a much smaller situation, my father got into trying to be a landlord at some point in time years ago, and they tried to hit him with the lead paint situation. And he was worried for like a year and a half or 2 years. He had certain pensions and retirements and all of this savings and whatnot, working all these years. He was worried as hell that, he was gonna lose a large chunk of that just because of something that he didn't know or he was unaware of, when the people moved into the house. Mind you, he had lived in the house himself for 7 to 8 years, and it was never a problem. But now you had this family in here that was trying to run a game, and he didn't see a way out of it, and it affected him for like 18 months or something, or 2 years, little over 2 years, and then the shit just went away. It just fell apart. So, but again, being that it's him, when this lady Gina Ford or the Prime Sports Agency, when she went and told who her target was, I'm sure a very capable lawyer was more than willing to get involved to try to get a resolution for her, knowing what the future holds for Zion Williamson and his brand, especially once they get back to playing. Whether or not that's going to happen this year, who knows? Well, anyway, I got on here and I told you, man, I really needed some space from my wife. It's just me and her in the house. I needed some space from her because things got contentious from the moment I brushed my teeth this morning. It didn't take much for some reason. So I'm down here wasting time and looking for a safe haven out here on the internet. But I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. Thanks for anybody who my man Box fans. Appreciate you checking in with me, man. Always good to build with you and whatnot. I guess you didn't want to know no boxing. You didn't want to chop it up about no boxing. So on and so forth. I don't even know if it was any like I said, man, right now boxing is just super messy. Guys can't fight. I mean, I will admit it did sound like a lot of guys were able to get back to the gym starting yesterday or today. I almost reached out to a couple of individuals to kind of talk through it and see what was going on, but I didn't. But I see the one interesting thing was Golden Boy talking about, this is on Boxing Scene, everybody can find it, but I saw earlier that Golden Boy threw a date out there, July 4th, trying to hold on to what they had planned for Ryan Garcia against Jorge Linares. That's very interesting to me because, and maybe that's very interesting to me. Although I guess Linares is over in Japan. I think that's his second home and whatnot. So there's no, we don't know when the travel restrictions and whatnot will be lifted or changed. So I guess maybe that can't happen. But that was one of the names being thrown out there to see if they could salvage that date. I was just going to say that would be very interesting to see if they would restart things with Ryan Garcia facing a guy like Linares I've heard different arguments in how this fight might not be that much of a challenge for Garcia. My one thing would be eventually somebody's going to get out of the first round with Ryan Garcia. It's not going to be all 40 seconds and a minute. That's not going to be routine. So somebody like Linares, I would think is seasoned enough to figure out, find a way to extend the fight a little bit and try to make Garcia get into a plan B or plan C or whatnot. Can he win the fight? I don't know. I mean, Linares has had moments where what was that? Cano, first round knockout. Maybe he does get knocked out in the first round. Maybe, but I think he didn't respect. I think Cano kind of snuck up on him a little bit. I think that was the cat's name. But I think, I think he was going up to what? Lightweight? I mean, super lightweight for that fight. I think he got caught off guard a little bit. But when you go in here against a youngster like Ryan Garcia, you're going to be more cautious, especially if you catch a shot or two and his power is and his speed is what is advertised to be. I would assume, he could find a way to extend the fight. Wow, just since I've been on here, I see a headline for with Arum, Bob Arum. I think Arum will be one of the dudes that's probably leading the way to. He's probably one of the figures that'll be at the forefront of whatever protocol they put in place for boxing to resume and for there to be shows. All the history that Top Rank has in the sport. They'll probably be at the forefront of working with the different commissions to establish, those guidelines. And the fact is, right now, I mean, with the UFC up and running, their second show either tonight or tomorrow. I'm not a UFC fan, so I don't keep up with it like that. But we know they had a show Saturday, and then the next one, like I said, is either tonight or tomorrow. And then I think one this weekend. So I think with them doing their thing, boxing is looking a little, has to be a little embarrassed with not having anything going. And totally different business models, totally different situations. So we'll see what happens. But I would think, like I said, I would think Golden Boy, not Golden Boy, but I would think that Top Rank would be at the forefront of trying to get to work ahead of everybody else. What else is on here? I thought I saw where Keyshawn Davis was going to do something about his amateur status, but it was just Shakur Stevenson, which is one of the. I did see a picture, photo on Instagram with Shakur Stevenson. Was with Richardson Hitchens yesterday and about 4 other guys boxing. So like I said, a lot of these guys are getting back in the gym and can resume training and whatnot. So somebody has signaled to them, and I had middleweight Michael Moore on here, who said he was it was a fight in June. I think for CBS Sports, maybe. It was something that it was an offer that he was entertaining, and it involved a studio fight or no audience and whatnot. So that was weeks ago when Michael Moore was on here, and he had mentioned that. I guess I could have checked back in with the brother and see if there was any development, but like I said, I was just kind of watching this thing happen. Caleb Plant, Canelo is a fight I would love to have now. That's interesting because just a while back, he said, no thanks. I ain't gonna revisit that whole thing. I don't know. And then lastly, I don't know why they keep bringing up this whole step aside money for Wilder and Pulev. You would think boxing scene has enough access to enough fighters to talk about something else. And it's kind of like, to me, maybe if individuals from the respective camps or promotional partners, and mainly it's just coming from Top Rank and Matchroom, but it's like they're trying to plant the seed that this is what we would prefer to do, and we're unable to get Wilder to consider it, which can't see that happening. Can't see that happening at all. But it's just odd that this article pops up weekly. And then Pulev, I was gonna put Pulev. I put a video up earlier about who's more tone deaf between Adrian Broner and David Hay. I would also put Pulev's people here because they keep talking like they have some say in the matter. I think yesterday was the article like, we're giving them 3 weeks to make the fight. Like, how? Like, how are you will be told when and where, and you get your shot. I don't. And it was like the article was talking about like Pulev's camp. I don't know his promoter's name. The European side, not the Top Rank. It's a co-promotion agreement, but I don't know what dude was talking about. Like, he was putting his preferences out there. Like, no one cares about that, bro. You're gonna show up and get your shot where they want it to happen. I don't understand. That's what I'm saying right now in boxing, man. There's too many guys just talking. This Mike Tyson stuff. They're talking about Tyson like he's a major threat, to the top guys at heavyweight. The man was talking about doing exhibitions, and then it just morphed into Facebook posts about the heavyweight division is on notice. Everybody's crazy. Everybody's crazy. Let me get on out of here, man. Enjoy y'all's night. Like I said, thanks to my man, Box Fans, for rocking with me, making a couple comments and whatnot. Let me get on out of here and go eat. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.